The story begins in 1950 inside a car factory where several cars are being built. Among them, one red car is very special. A mechanic is working on it and checking the engine. Suddenly, the hood slams shut on its own with great force and crushes his hand badly. He is rushed to a doctor for treatment. Later, another mechanic comes to inspect the same car. While sitting inside, some ash from his cigar falls onto the seat. He notices it but ignores it and continues working comfortably. He has no idea that this small mistake will lead to something terrible. A few hours later, the workday ends and all the factory workers leave for home. As the supervisor is leaving, he notices that the red car's headlights are still on. He walks over to check it. The moment he opens the car door, the body of the mechanic with the cigar falls out of the vehicle. After this shocking incident, 28 years pass and the story moves to 1978. We are introduced to a student named Dennis, who drives to the house of another boy named Arie. Arie is a quiet, shy, and hardworking student. Dennis and Arie are very different from each other, but despite that, they become close friends. It is their first day of school. After arriving, they collect their new books from their lockers. At that moment, a new student named Lee arrives. Her beauty immediately grabs the attention of everyone around her. Dennis is instantly attracted to her. Later, while Dennis and Arie are driving home, Arie suddenly notices a red car parked outside a house. As soon as he sees it, he tells Dennis to stop the car. When they get closer, they discover that it is an old, rusty vehicle that looks completely worn out. However, Arie cannot take his eyes off it. This is the same red car from the factory that we saw at the beginning of the story. Its condition has become terrible over the years, but Arie does not care at all. He falls in love with the car the moment he sees it. Just then, the owner of the car, George, comes outside. He tells them that the car's name is Christine and that it belonged to his brother, who died a few weeks ago. George wants to get rid of the car as quickly as possible, so he agrees to sell it for only $250. Dennis tries to stop Arie and tells him that spending money on such a broken car is a bad idea. He says Arie should buy a better vehicle because repairing this one will cost a lot of money. But Arie does not listen. Without thinking twice, he buys the car immediately. That evening, when he returns home, his parents ask him about the car. His mother becomes very angry after hearing about it. She scolds him and tells him to return the vehicle to its owner right away. However, Arie refuses to listen because he bought the car with his own savings. But Arnie's mother was very strict. She clearly told him that this car would not stay in their house. Because of that, Arie took the car with Dennis and brought it to a garage. There, they met the garage owner, who was a very rude and unfriendly man. At first, he refused to let Arie keep the car there. However, Arie politely kept requesting him again and again. He asked him to please allow the car to stay in the garage. Eventually, the owner agreed and gave Arie permission to keep Christine there. On the way back, Dennis asked Arie why he had bought such a terrible and broken car. Arie replied that he did not choose the car. Instead, the car had chosen him. The next day at school, Dennis was waiting for Arie during lunch. When Arie did not show up for a long time, Dennis went looking for him. That was when he saw a bully named Buddy bothering Arie. Buddy had taken Arnie's lunchbox and was threatening him with a knife. Dennis tried to step in and help. In response, Buddy threw the lunch onto the ground and pushed Arie down on top of it. Arnie's glasses fell off during the struggle. Buddy then stepped on them and crushed them under his feet. After that, he started laughing at Arnie's condition. But at that moment, Dennis saw an opportunity and attacked Buddy. Soon, Buddy's gang surrounded Dennis. Just then, a teacher arrived and stopped the fight. Arie told the teacher that Buddy had threatened him with a knife. Buddy refused to admit it. The teacher then ordered him to empty his pockets. While doing so, the same knife fell out of his pocket. In the end, Buddy and his gang were sent to the principal's office. As a result, Buddy was expelled from school. Several weeks passed, and Arie spent all his time working hard to repair Christine. One day, the garage owner watched him working and was impressed by his dedication. He offered Arie a job at the garage. He told him that in return for his work, he could collect spare parts for his car. Arie happily accepted the offer and continued repairing Christine with even more passion. However, he did not realize that while fixing the car, he was becoming deeply attached to it. The next day at school, some students were talking about the new girl, Lee. They challenged Dennis to go to the library and talk to her. Accepting the challenge, Dennis walked over to Lee. But before he could even start a conversation, Lee told him that she already had a boyfriend. Dennis felt embarrassed and disappointed. He left the table feeling ashamed in front of his friends. Later that evening, Dennis went to visit Arie because they had not met for quite some time. But when he saw him, he was surprised. Arie had changed a lot. He was no longer wearing glasses. He was dressed in stylish clothes and looked much more confident than before. He did not even stay long enough to talk with Dennis. Instead, he quickly left to continue working at the garage. His mother tried to stop him, but Arie ignored her and walked away. After he left, Arnie's mother told Dennis that she was very worried about him and his new car. She had recently learned that the previous previous owner had died from suffocation inside the car itself. Hearing this, Dennis decided to visit George. George then told him the story of his brother. He explained that when his brother bought Christine, he became completely obsessed with the car. Later, both his wife and daughter lost their lives because of it. After his brother's death, something strange happened. Somehow the car appeared by itself outside George's house, as if it had driven there on its own. Hearing this story made Dennis even more worried. Because of that, he decided to investigate the car himself. Later, Dennis secretly went to the garage. He tried to open Christine, but the moment he pulled the door handle, the radio suddenly turned on by itself. Dennis got scared and quickly ran away before anyone could see him. The next morning, Dennis went to the school stadium to play football. He was completely focused on scoring an important goal when he suddenly saw Arie arriving. Christine was now fully repaired and shining like a brand new car. Seeing this made Buddy and his friends jealous. At the same time, Lee stepped out of the car and kissed Arie in front of everyone. Dennis did not like this at all because he had strong feelings for Lee. He became upset and lost focus on the game. Taking advantage of this moment, a player from the opposite team pushed him hard. Dennis hit the ground with great force and immediately lost consciousness. He was also seriously injured. Several days later, Dennis finally woke up. He realized that he was in a hospital. His leg and neck were both in casts. Arie had come to visit him as well. At that moment, Dennis realized just how much his friend had changed. Only a month earlier, Arie had been a shy and nervous boy who could barely talk to people. Now he seemed like a completely different person. After a short visit, Arie said goodbye and left. That same evening, he went to a movie theater with Lee. Later, the two of them sat together inside Christine and started kissing. But when things began to go further, Lee suddenly stepped out of the car. Arie followed her and asked what was wrong. Lee told him that he seemed to love the car more than he loved her. Arie thought her words sounded strange. Before they could continue the conversation, it suddenly started raining. Somehow, Arie managed to calm Lee down and convince her to get back into the car. However, a problem appeared when the windshield stopped working properly. Arie stepped outside to fix it. While he was busy, Lee stayed alone inside Christine and started eating something. Suddenly, the car radio turned on by itself. At the same time, a bright light flashed from the dashboard. Lee suddenly felt like she could not breathe. It seemed as if her throat was closing and she was slowly choking. Arie rushed back to help her, but the car doors had locked from the inside. Lee was almost out of air and close to death. Fortunately, at the last moment, she managed to unlock the door. A man standing nearby quickly grabbed her and pulled her out of the car. Seeing this, Arie became angry with the man. He thought the stranger was trying to take advantage of Lee, but in reality, the man was only helping her by removing the food stuck in her throat. After everything finally calmed down, Arie drove Lee back to her house. The moment she stepped out of the car, she went straight inside. She told Arie that she did not want to talk to him anymore. Arie tried to apologize, but Lee had already made up her mind. She was convinced that the car had tried to kill her. She also believed that Christine was jealous of her because every time she and Arie were together inside the car, something strange or dangerous happened. After hearing all this, Arie believed that Lee was only imagining things. He told her that they would talk again tomorrow. Then Arie got back into Christine, but the car would not start at all. It almost seemed as if Christine was angry. Arie began talking to the car. He told Christine that what happened with Lee did not matter because he would always love Christine more than anyone else. After saying that, he turned the key again, and this time the engine started immediately. Arie then drove straight to the garage. He left Christine there and went back home. But soon after he left, Buddy and his friends broke into the garage. They were carrying different kinds of weapons. Within minutes, they completely destroyed Christine. The next day, Arie somehow managed to make peace with Lee. Later, the two of them went to the garage because Arie wanted to take his wallet out of the car. However, the moment he saw Christine, he froze. The car had been completely smashed and ruined. Arie was heartbroken. He immediately thought that Lee was responsible for what had happened. Shocked by his reaction, Lee asked who could have done such a thing. But instead of answering, Arie started shouting at her. He told her to leave and stay away from him. Later, Arie told his parents about the damaged car. They tried to calm him down and said that they would buy him a new vehicle. But hearing that only made him even angrier. He knew that his parents hated Christine just like Lee did. In his mind, they were also responsible for what happened. He believed that if they had allowed him to keep the car at home, Christine would still be safe. Arie continued insulting them and started walking toward his room. His father grabbed him from behind and demanded that he apologize to his mother. Instead, Arie became even more aggressive. Finally, his father lost patience and slapped him. In response, Arie grabbed his father by the throat. For a moment, it looked like he was actually going to kill him, but at the last second, he let go. Without saying another word, he walked out of the house. He went straight to Christine and decided that he would repair the car piece by piece all over again. But what he saw next completely shocked him. It looked as if magic was happening right in front of his eyes. Christine was repairing itself on its own. Arie watched in disbelief as the damaged metal slowly returned to normal. The broken parts fixed themselves without anyone touching them. Excited and amazed, Arie asked the car what else it could do. Within moments, Christine fully restored itself and looked brand new again. In the next scene, we see a boy named Muchi during the night. He was one of Buddy's friends. He had stopped a truck in the middle of the road and was trying to rob it. Suddenly, he heard the sound of an engine coming from a distance. As he moved closer to look, he realized that it was Christine. The car looked completely new and was standing right in front of him. Mucci immediately understood that Arie had found out about his role in destroying the car. He started begging for forgiveness, but suddenly, Christine's headlights turned on. The car then began moving directly toward him at high speed. Terrified, Mucci ran for his life. He escaped into a narrow alley beside the road and hid there. He thought the car would stop chasing him, but soon, Christine appeared behind him once again. Mucci ran into an old warehouse hoping to save himself, but Christine was not going to let him escape. Eventually, Mucci became trapped in a corner with no way out. Christine had completely surrounded him. Desperate to survive, Mucci pulled out his knife and started threatening Arie. However, Christine forced its way inside the warehouse. The car then ran over Mucci without mercy and killed him. The next morning, Arie went to visit Dennis and told him about Mucci's death. Dennis was shocked by the news. He also could not understand how Christine had repaired itself after being completely destroyed, but Arie gave no answer. He simply stayed quiet and left. As Arie was walking away, Detective Junkins came to speak with him. The detective said that he was investigating the gang members who had attacked Christine. He also revealed that he was handling Mucci's murder case. Arie replied that he knew nothing about Mucci's death, but he was very happy to hear the news. This response immediately made the detective suspicious of him. Detective Junkins then told Arie that his girlfriend had given a statement. According to her, Christine had somehow repaired itself even after being completely wrecked. Hearing this, Arie became angry and claimed that everything she said was a lie. Then he walked away. Later, Arie called Lee and asked her to meet him. However, she refused to come. This made Arie even more furious. Meanwhile, Buddy and his friends bought some alcohol from a store and drove away. As they were traveling down the road, they noticed another car following them. Buddy stopped his car to see who it was, but because of the bright headlights, he could not see the driver. He then reversed his car, and the mysterious vehicle reversed as well. At that moment, Buddy realized that the car behind him was none other than Christine. Furious, Buddy sped away and drove straight to a gas station where his friend Richie worked. He got out of the car and grabbed a metal rod. He was ready to teach the person following him a lesson. But suddenly, Christine came speeding toward him and crashed directly into Buddy's car. The impact caused serious damage. Buddy believed that Arie was inside the vehicle, so he shouted at him to come out. Instead of stopping, Christine slammed into Buddy's car once again. This time, it pushed the vehicle directly into the workshop. Don was still sitting inside the car, and Christine crushed him along with the vehicle. At the same time, fuel started leaking from Buddy's car. Moments later, it caught fire. Within seconds, a massive explosion destroyed the entire garage area. Richie was also trapped in the flames and died in the fire. Seeing all this, Buddy ran for his life. But Christine was not going to let him escape so easily. The car continued chasing him. Eventually, Christine caught up with Buddy, ran him over, and killed him as well. His body was burned in the flames. A few hours later, the garage owner heard the sound of a car arriving. When he looked outside, he saw Christine covered in smoke. He was confused because Arie had gone somewhere else to repair another vehicle. Curious and worried, he picked up his shotgun and walked toward the car. He wanted to see who was driving it. When he tried to open the door, he realized it was extremely hot. Using a piece of cloth, he finally managed to pull the door open. But when he looked inside, he was shocked. There was nobody sitting in the driver's seat. The garage owner stood there in disbelief, wondering who had been driving the car all night. The garage owner could not understand what was happening. Confused, he decided to sit inside Christine himself. But this turned out to be the biggest mistake of his life. He had no idea that Christine was not going to leave any witness alive. Suddenly, the car doors locked by themselves. Before the garage owner could react, the seat began moving forward toward the dashboard. Christine crushed him inside the car and killed him. The next morning, Arie arrived at the garage and saw several police cars parked outside. He met Detective Junkins, who informed him that the garage owner's body had been found inside Christine. Arie claimed that he had no idea how it happened. However, deep down, he knew that Christine was responsible. The car was once again standing there in perfect condition, shining as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Dennis finally returned home from the hospital. Soon after, Lee called him and said that she wanted to meet. When she arrived, she told Dennis that Christine had completely taken control of Arie. According to her, Arie was obsessed with the car and was behaving in very strange ways. Dennis replied that he did not believe Arie could willingly do such terrible things. But if Christine had somehow taken over his mind, then the car had to be destroyed. After their conversation, Lee went back home. A short time later, Arie arrived at Dennis's house in Christine. He invited Dennis to go for a drive. Dennis agreed and got into the car. While driving, Arie once again started acting strangely. Suddenly, he began speeding down the road at a dangerous speed. Then, to Dennis's horror, he completely let go of the steering wheel. Dennis panicked and shouted that Christine was out of control. He begged Arie to grab the wheel before they both got killed. But Arie calmly replied that nobody could come between him and Christine. He said that he trusted the car completely. To prove his point, he drove Christine straight into the opposite lane at full speed. A terrible crash was avoided only at the last second when an oncoming car managed to move away. After seeing how close his friend was to complete madness, Dennis decided that he had to take action himself. The next day, he left a note on Christine's hood. In the note, he asked Arie to meet him at the garage that evening. Later that night, Dennis and Lee waited for him inside the workshop. When Arie failed to arrive, they got into a bulldozer parked nearby and drove it inside the building. Their plan was simple. Lee would stay inside the office. As soon as Arie arrived, she would close the main gate. At the same time, Dennis would use the bulldozer to completely destroy Christine. However, they did not know that Christine was already inside the workshop, hidden behind a large curtain. Suddenly, the car turned its headlights toward them. Then it accelerated directly at Lee, trying to run her over. Lee barely managed to save herself by grabbing a tire that was hanging in the air, but Christine refused to stop. The car turned around and prepared to attack her again. Just in time, Dennis drove the bulldozer forward and placed its massive shovel in front of Christine, blocking the car and preventing it from hitting Lee. After that, Christine backed away and moved to the other side of the workshop. At the same time, Dennis drove the bulldozer toward the front of the car. Now both vehicles were facing each other. It was finally revealed that Christine was not acting alone. Arie was helping the car, and he was now completely under its control. Suddenly, Christine pointed its headlights toward them. Within a few seconds, the car repaired itself once again and returned to perfect condition. Unfortunately, the excavator had also stopped working. Dennis immediately began trying to start it again. During this time, Christine suddenly rushed toward the office where Lee was hiding. The car smashed through everything in its path as it charged directly at her. However, the powerful impact caused Arie to crash through the windshield and get thrown out of the car. Lee quickly ran toward him to see if he was okay, but Arie suddenly jumped up and scared her. He grabbed her and tried to attack her. Sadly, a large piece of windshield glass had become lodged deep inside his body. In his final moments, Arie reached out and tried to touch his beloved Christine one last time, but his injuries were too severe. Right in front of the car he loved so much, Arie took his last breath and died. Lee immediately ran away from the area. Christine, however, wanted revenge. The car instantly shifted into reverse and tried to run her over. Luckily, Lee managed to escape in time. Christine crashed into a pillar and became stuck. Dennis quickly took advantage of the situation and drove toward the car. He slammed the bulldozer into Christine with great force. Even then, the car continued fighting and tried to survive. A few moments later, Christine once again moved toward Lee, but Dennis struck from behind with the excavator's claw and crushed the car. This attack weakened Christine considerably. Lee quickly climbed into the excavator with Dennis. Meanwhile, Christine became active again and started repairing itself one more time. Realizing that they had to destroy this evil force forever, Dennis started the bulldozer and drove directly over Christine. He crushed the car again and again. Christine still tried to survive, but this time the damage was too much. The car was finally destroyed completely. Their battle had finally come to an end. The next day, Dennis and Lee met Detective Junkins at a junkyard. There, they saw Christine reduced to nothing more than a pile of scrap metal. In the end, the three of them left the junkyard and went their separate ways. But just before the story ended, we saw something strange. A small piece of Christine suddenly moved on its own. This proved that the evil car was still alive. And with that, the story comes to an end. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to our channel to see more such videos. Thanks for watching.